Welcome to Planning Phase Syndicate. Thank you all so much for joining us this week. This is episode 70 of our Star Wars Unlimited podcast. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the ever-changing meta. We're going to talk about a couple of more decks that I found that were super cool. And we're going to round out the show with a Qui-gon Jinn deck tech, which we don't usually do deck techs on the show. But I thought, this week it would be extra special with Alex having a lot of work hours. It's a little easier if we just do it on Sunday night. So I thought, hey, it'll be fun. Let's do a Qui-Gon deck tech. People haven't done one that I've seen, so I think we might be the first podcast to do it. Am I allowed to say that? The first podcast to do it. With that being said, please welcome my co-host tonight, Mr. Alex, the Benchwarmer. How are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing okay. A lot of movies to watch in August that I'm excited for. Just watched Weapons earlier today, which I know you also did. Would recommend. Fun little mystery movie. But
yeah, it's funny. When we went and saw it, right? Like we went at 4:00 today to see it, and my son was supposed to go with me, and he said he felt sick. So I was like, I texted my mother-in-law. I was like, hey, can my nephew come with me? And he's like 14 and a half, so I don't know how many horror movies he gets to see. I was like, oh, this one won't have a bunch of like weird stuff in it. Like it'll just kind of be jump scary, maybe a tiny bit violent, but I didn't think it was going to be like super thing. And so we're sitting there, and the very first time they have the jump scare scene, I like scream out loud, and he just starts laughing, like just in the middle of the whole thing, like just ruins the whole atmosphere, because I didn't expect the first jump scare, and then it happened, and I was like, oh fuck.
yeah, there's only like 3 or 4 of them in the movie. To be fair, it's not like one of those typical like jump scare movies, but it was a solid jump scare. I'll give them that.
Yeah, they got me good. Now I'm easy to get, so I mean, like that's a thing anyway. But yeah, I don't know. Like it was funny. It was a pretty decent movie. I did not like it as well as I liked the other one that Bring Her Back. I really liked that one quite a bit. This one the pacing of this one felt better though. Like the pacing for this movie like actually like felt like it was moving a lot faster than Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back had a very long drawn out like first hour of that movie. Like just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they both build up suspense in very different ways. I enjoyed this more than Bring Her Back, but I enjoyed both movies because I'm a horror movie nut, so it was fun.
Yeah.
The ending scene, I think people will either love or hate it. I thought it was very cathartic. It was very funny.
Yeah, I thought it fit. I don't like that we never really get explanations for anything. That drives me nuts, but whatever. Like, I mean, yes, like at least the ending scene worked out very well for what it was supposed to do. We won't spoil it since it's opening weekend. We are not the spoilers show, I guess. We used to do like a Star Wars one, but maybe we should start a movie critic show. That might be actually kind of fun to do, or a movie critic show. We could probably have the equipment. We could do that.
I watch an obscene amount of movies, so
you do
stuff to talk about.
You do. That is true. There is. I don't know what other movies are you looking forward to seeing, I guess.
Oh, there's like 19 movies I want to see just this month. There's so many out. Well, the new Toxic Avenger. I haven't seen the new Naked Gun yet, or Bad Guys 2. Nobody 2's coming out. Highest to Lowest. A lot of 2s. But they're all over the place.
So the Naked Gun, like I heard it was good. Brendo messaged me, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, that's pretty good." And I was like, I don't know. I'll see it. I don't know if it's like Tanner wants to pay $10 plus soda and popcorn worthy, like especially because I've been more of on a horror movie kick than anything else. Like we watched last night. We watched this movie called The Car. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's a 1977 movie. It is like the one that inspired Christine, I guess, like Stephen King to write Christine.
Oh, it inspired Stephen King to write Christine? Interesting.
Yes. And do you ever watch Futurama?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you remember the honking? Yes. So I did not know that was based on that car, but in the movie, the car looks identical. Like seriously, like it's like a black bender is basically like what it would be.
Yes. This is probably what they were going for in Futurama.
And so the only reason I agreed to watch it was because of that. It's just because like, all right, fine, I'll watch the original. It is not. It is awful. It is one of the worst movies I've seen. It is not the worst movie though. We watched, I don't know, like 6 months ago, we watched some movie about like a walk-in microwave, and I can't remember the name of that movie, but that movie was just god awful. That was like one of the worst. I hated that movie so much. It was so
You ever
boring.
seen Rubber?
No.
Oh, it's a
I
killer
probably
tiger.
don't want to watch it. Definitely don't want to see that.
It's
Jesus
it's a bizarre movie.
That is not on my list. I actually started a list after you had your like horror movie list that you had for like that you came out with like a couple years ago. I don't remember. And so I was like, oh, there's some of those movies on there I haven't seen. So I started like just a to watch movie list so that when I get bored at home and like nobody wants to hang out or whatever and nobody's really around, I have like horror movies I can watch by myself. And so then I found out David Lynch. I never seen David Lynch's last movie, Inland Empire. So that's on my list now because that looked pretty good. I like David Lynch though, so those are those obscure movies I will watch. But I don't know. Sure. We're not a movie podcast. We are an unlimited podcast, so we should probably talk a little bit about Star Wars tonight. I don't know how much SWU you've gotten played in. I know PQ season's coming up. We got a PQ in Michigan in 2 weeks.
Which I didn't realize until yesterday.
Oh no! Did you get your ticket yet?
I did, because I got it when they first announced it, and then I'm just like, I wonder where that PQ. Oh, that's in 2 weeks. I should probably actually decide to figure out a deck.
I know. Like, I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe I should like throw off the scent for what we're going to actually play. Like, maybe I just say what we're going to play and then you and I play the same deck, but not that. And we just like completely, I
just
like
smoke screen into a trench deck.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a Palpatine deck, or I don't know. Like, I'm this close. I was that close to getting a Palpatine showcase from somebody. And like, I was like, I got all this stuff from Galactics. I will trade you for a Palpatine showcase. I don't care that it rotates out in like 8 months.
Still
give
the
it to me.
best showcase. Best looking showcase, in my opinion.
Yeah. With some of the stuff I sold for Galactics, I got a Snoke showcase coming, $60. And I thought that was a pretty good deal, so I got it before it started to go up, because somebody's going to make that showcase. Someone's going to break Snoke at some point, and then it's going to go be expensive. No, you don't think so?
About that one.
Okay.
Nah.
All right. We'll see. So yeah, so I got my Snoke showcase though, because like I think I collect the villains more than I collect the heroes. So I do still have a Vader showcase if anybody is looking. I would trade for other things like Palpatine showcases. Hint hint, if people want to trade towards that.
Actually, they're roughly equal.
Yeah, they're close to it. I would want a little bit more than just a Palpatine showcase, but if you had an Iden and a Palpatine showcase, I would happily just trade you right now for the Vader showcase, because that would be fun. I've always liked the Iden showcase because of the weird colors on it. And I think like that's my thing, is like, give me a showcase that has weird colors and doesn't look anything like the other thing. That's what I want. It's the only ones I had. Like all the other ones, I don't know, but. Or give me the Avar Chris Zelda showcase. There you go.
It's my least favorite. I like the Luke pilot more than I like the Avar Chris one.
No, Alex. Bad Alex.
It's literally my least favorite.
Fine, I'll trade you your Zelda showcase for a Luke pilot showcase if you would like.
I think that's the backwards.
Don't you?
I don't have an Avar Chris showcase.
Oh, I thought you did.
No.
I thought you had one.
No.
What ones did you pull this set? Oh, you pulled Kitfisto.
Yeah. Kitfisto, Revan, Barriss, Talzin, Kitfisto.
Got it.
No, I already said that. Qui-Gon now. Because I picked that one up at the shop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one too. I'm okay with the Qui-Gon one. I like the bright orange on it quite a bit. So tonight I want to talk a little bit about some PQs and kind of go over the stats. And like, we obviously did not see anything from FFG in a way of a ban in the last 2 weeks. Alex, do you think we will be getting a ban anytime soon on any cards or leaders?
Judging by the last PQ weekend, probably not. But there's always room for them to do whatever.
Yeah. If they do ban, let's just pretend they do ban Force Throw and they leave Han 2 alone, right? How do you think that changes the meta? Does more Tarkin Town decks creep up? Is that like the bigger thing? Like what do you think that would look like?
If like ban force throw,
Yeah, just force throw.
maybe a little bit of a reduction in other leaders playing like red green Kitfisto or something like that. I don't know. I force throw to me was always super inconsequential. I know you hate it. So I'm just like, I never really cared when people force through me or themselves to kill something. So I'm not sure. Like I don't really build decks around force throw. I know it's kind of a non-answer. I just don't really like. Doesn't really affect me one way or another, I guess.
You and your non-answers. Yeah, so I don't know, like, if we're going to look at the meta from this weekend, and we're going to kind of talk a little bit about that, because they did release like a schedule for August, and like my belief is that they aren't going to ban it now. They're probably not going to ban it in a month. They're going to let it play out for the whole season. So to begin with, we kind of look at some of the PQ winners. So we have Quinlan up there, a Boba Data Vault. Look at that, Alex's favorite. Cad Bane Tarkin Town. We had an Iden Data Vault. The New York one, I have no idea. I don't know what that one is. A Sabine ECL. Kylo Tarkin Town. Of course, that's what's his face from X-Wing. What's that guy's name? Andrew Cox.
Oh,
that's who that is. That's who took that down. That's the area in Florida he goes to, I think.
I mean, he won one in set 1, right? Didn't he win like the big PQ or something, or a 1K or whatever? Because they didn't have PQs back then.
Yes. Yeah. We have Sabine Tarkin Town. Like, that was a little bit of a surprise. That's kind of cool. We are going to cover that list tonight, because I was like, all right, let's look at that list, because it's been a while since we've done that. Another Boba. We see a Kaz kind of cropping up here. Another Quinlan, one Han, and a Gar Saxon ECL. So if we actually look at like the archetypes, I think like that's the biggest thing is Han Solo still wins triumphant on the archetypes, but his conversion rate is a lot lower, right? So for example, he has over 700 people have taken his deck somewhere, and that's going to be the combination of blue and green, folks, just so you know. So like that's why the number's a little bit higher. I did not want to break it out any farther than that. But for instance, it's not converting as well as Mother Talzin decks are converting, or as Kylo Ren decks are converting, which is a little surprising, other than the Kylo Ren is kind of designed a little bit to, beat that down. So I don't know. So that's these are some of the top decks. As you can see, Cad Bane has a really high conversion rate. I don't know if that's surprising, but I think like it's like the deck that doesn't care as much about force throw as other decks do, because they play a lot of cards they can recur for themselves. They play a lot of capture type stuff, so I don't know if they care as much about force throw in that deck. But that's surprising. The Cad Bane having a higher conversion rate seems pretty surprising to me. And then you kind of look at Quinlan, Anakin, all down. Boba creeping up there. Probably Boba Data Vault has the official highest conversion rate in this set of numbers. So out of the top 10, you should be looking at Boba Data Vault, and you should be looking at Cad Bane, I guess, because those seem to be the highest converting ones. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, of these like top 10 decks, I'm sure there's other decks that one of them won the one of the PQs over there. I think like Iden, you should probably also watch out for. I'm sure that's on the rise there. But I mean, I always thought that Boba Data Vault was a pretty good deck. It did take down a couple PQs late last set, and it's now early this set. And that doesn't, with a lot of more force things out there, the average base health I'm sure went down, so it might be a lot easier for indirect damage to do things. Although you can also spam out a lot more units pretty quickly, but also like Han probably doesn't want to damage his own units with indirect because he just played them. They have 2 less health, so it's a fun deck. I enjoy it. I don't play it a lot, but it is very annoying to go against. So
yeah, it's one of those decks that like was doing well into like the Kiras and to like some of those other control decks because it can just push out the damage. I wish Pelp was like that too. You know, maybe we'll get a good Pelp next set. I don't know. We'll see. If we kind of look at the archetypes, this is just going to compare last week versus this week. Kylo Ren Tarkin Town's Metashare is off the charts again, but its win rate is down. So I think that's a very interesting statistic, right? Like you talked about Iden Datavolt. Iden Datavolt's win rate is up pretty high. Its conversion rate is pretty high. And its Metashare is going up comparatively, right? So I think you're correct, and yes, it's not up in those top 10, but look at the performance rate that it had this weekend. Another one is Yoda aggression, right? Like that's not super surprising, but like look at that. That's like that conversion rate's up over 50%. The win rate's going up. That's another deck I think people should be looking out for.
It's a fun
I
deck.
don't find it fun to play. I hate it. I don't like it.
I like Yoda. I played Yoda a lot in set 3, a little bit less last set, but I have a Yoda red deck and it's fun. I like Rey. Just basically ruthless raying your opponent every turn is pretty cool. And I also needed I pulled a serialized Bendu, so I needed a deck to put Bendu in, so I made red Yoda. And I just have Bendu in there because he's also a giant threat that you can drop early with, like, You're My Only Hope. Or Force Throw yourself for 8 damage, which is a lot.
Yep. Another
Also,
deck on the right. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say he's also shockingly good in his space aggro because he also hits space units. Does 3 damage all space units. He's a bombing run for both fields when he attacks.
Yeah. Well, if that space deck hasn't won by the time you get Bendu out and they're not running ramp,
You
I
can
think
get Bendu out on
at that
6
point,
resources, right? With You're My Only Hope, so...
Oh, okay. All right. Well, fine.
If you have enough Restore and Sentinel in the deck, you're okay.
But yeah, I think the other like the big noticeable thing is Kaz pilot, but not the one I would have thought. Like Kaz yellow, right? Like what?
Gross.
Why is Kaz yellow coming up? I don't want to see that. That's you're gonna play Cunning for 4 again, I guess.
I had a local who played a lot of Kaz Yellow last set, and it can get pretty annoying. I don't think that's the right color. I still believe in blue, but it can get annoying.
Yeah, I'm not super into that personally, but so these are kind of like the numbers. You could check out the Sous Stats page if you want like to dive into these numbers. I like I said, I think the most interesting thing is that Kylo Ren is going up in Metashare, but is not like performing as well as we thought it would comparative to the weekend before, and I think that's because you got more people trying it out, right? So more people equals
Mother
more
Talzin's
losing.
Metashare is like 9.6, which is the highest on this graphic here. That win rate is 52%, right?
Yeah.
The conversion's 27, so that's not good comparatively.
No, that's not. That's definitely not very good. But just ignore the Palpatine Tarkin Town, though, please. Like,
why?
Everybody ignore that. Nope, ignore that. That's the
deck.
one
so
deck.
Fun.
One person ran that deck, and you want to know who it was? It was Crispy. So
I was gonna say
that's
it was
who ran
Crispy.
that deck. Yes, and it was at Gen Con after he already had won one of the days for Gen Con. So that was his second backup deck, I think, to play.
I can respect it. Like he made a solid one in set 3, right? Or was it? Yeah, it was in the middle of
I
set
think
3.
it was set 3. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
So the Boba Data Vault, that's the other one. Like you can see the Metashare is going up, but it's a little bit lower, but the conversion rate and win rate are pretty high. So I would be careful. Again, we looking at some of these numbers, you don't want to just like go, oh, well, that one looks really good. Well, you have to really take kind of like the top 10 decks, archetypes, and then kind of come down here, look at these, and you have to be a little bit more careful for it. So that way you don't just pick something and go, oh well, that's an auto win, because I don't think that's how Sue works right now. I will say the meta feels very diverse comparatively. Seeing some of those Kaz's up there, having the Han 4s in there, having some Vaders still, seeing a little bit of Thrawn. It's pretty good. I won't lie and tell you I have been practicing Thrawn ECL a little bit just because it's fun. Like, I just really like Thrawn a lot. Thrawn's one of my favorite characters ever, so like it's kind of hard for me not to want to. We've also started playtesting Thrawn 1 again, and then I just kind of told them, why are we playing this when we could just play Trench? Like, it's like, sorry, like I think Trench just is a little bit better. Like, yeah, it's cool to see their card, but
not to be like super biased towards Trench, but like Trench is a better blue-yellow villainy control deck than Set 1 Thrawn.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to explain to people, but you know,
it also doesn't lose to other control decks by design. So in a mirror matchup,
yeah,
God help you, but mirror matchup, you're probably okay.
Yeah, you're very rarely going to face another Trench. Maybe
yeah, well,
a Trench
like
green.
mirror matchup being like a hard control matchup,
okay.
like an Iden blue or something like that, or more so than you and me happen to play each other in the same tournament.
Yeah. So now we kind of move on to like these are kind of the tier rankings they gave based on win percentage. I did the win percentage for now while he still works some of that other stuff out. So Kylo Ren is still ranked up there because of win percentage. I think that will change next week, but we'll see. Iden coming in with a heavy share. Luke, Hero of Yavin Data Vault baby, is up there. Look at that. I don't know. I like seeing the Luke up there. I don't like facing that Luke, though. I'll tell you that right now. It's not a fun deck to have to play against.
It's fine. It's just the worst version of my Von Reg deck. It's okay.
Yeah. Thrawn yellow. There's the Boba again, and then Palp blue pushing up into that upper-esque tier. Right. That seems pretty
back to back.
Pretty good. Too. I know. The next one, yep, tier 2 Palp again. Yoda, more Kylo, more Han.
Yeah, you appreciate that Han Blue Force is a tier 2, middle of the road tier 2 deck.
Yes, I do. I do, and I think that's like kind of like where I want to like move the discussion right now, is because people were very afraid of Han 2 Blue. It did very well in testing. The question I have, Alex, is it seeing less of a win percentage because so many people were running it? That when you run into the mirrors, you're knocking yourself down the ranking system just by pure sheer volume? Or do you think it's because enough people just teched against it that it was easy enough to tech against that it started to lose its meta share because of the fact that we're now saying, oh, hey, hold on a second, I'm just going to run these 3 extra cards to, you know, kind of give you the middle finger. So what do you think for that?
It's a little bit of a combo of both, right? Like, obviously, cannibalizing yourself will lower your win percentage. And I feel like it's a coin flip on who wins those matches anyways. Like, just super 50-50 on those. But also, like, if, you know, people were very adamant that this is going to be the best deck, so everyone was just like, what do you do for this? Kind of like, you know, in Set 1 with Sabine, where everyone's just like, well, this is probably the best deck. What do I have answers for Sabine? It's just as long as you have some sort of game plan against the deck that's that popular, then that deck starts kind of faltering unless it's like super busted. But I don't think it's super busted. So it's just, you know, a little bit of everyone's mentally prepared and has a game plan for how they're going to play against Han, and a little bit of, well, basically everyone's trying to play this deck and they're cannibalizing each other. Because like that meta percentage here is 16%, which I think is the only one in like double digits, let alone above like 5%, right? Like nothing's even close. I don't even see any being higher than 2%. Well, I lied.
Yeah, there's a couple
there's
there.
There's the Sabine that's at 4%, but nothing's even close. Like nothing's above 5% there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think like that's a good analysis, right? That's a good observation, and I think like because these statistics take into account obviously basically since the beginning of July, like, and so like I think that's like when we talk about how the meta shifts and everything ebbs and flows, right? This is actually just a snapshot of overall, right? Like we could go up top, we go back up, we could see Han not converting in the same way, right? Except for Han Solo Data Vault, I guess that one's converting. But like it's not converting in the same way, that it was before. Its Metashare is going down. Which I think is good then, right? Because if its Metashare goes down, logically it'll bring some of the stronger players on that deck up, and like you won't have to tech against it in the same way that we had to before. I think it's also interesting to kind of note like Palpatine being on the rise, probably as a correlation to Mother Talzin and Han 2 decks being so prevalent. It's easy to play that against them.
Yeah, Palpatine feasts on like mid-range decks like that. Mid-range decks that don't have a particularly strong end game. Like Talzin has some, right? Like that's why the Sun is in the deck. Is to give it a little bit better end game, but that end game, the Sun is not a crazy end game when you're playing like Devastators.
Exactly.
Right, so it's Palpatine.
You played the Sun? Ooh,
yeah. Watch him go boom. He's now a crater in the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the more mid range, less aggro, the better Palpatine gets, right? And obviously vice versa. Unless you're playing Darkened Down, which is fine.
Yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see if Kylo continues to go down after this weekend. Like, so if in a weekend, is Kylo going to continue to go down? Like, I think Kylo does very well against like those Han mid-range decks. I think that it specifically works very well against them. I don't think it works as well against control decks, though. And maybe this is just me being biased. I guess, like, on one side, I want more people to run Kylo, because if you're running Kylo Talzin and that, I could just start running Palp again. Like, I could just go back to my Palp days and just, like, I could just be happy again. Like, I made top 8 in a PQ with Palp before. I can happily play Palp again. Though this time it'll probably not be yellow, because it's fun to set. But I think that's, like, the bigger question is, like, I don't know. We have to look at, like, I don't know. I'm trying to convince the guy for this site to figure out how we can get, like, aggro versus mid-range versus tempo deck type, like, analysis. So, like, we could trend where, like, those go. Because I think, like, if you see the weekend before, aggro go from, like, 5% to, like, 28%, right? Like, that's a huge jump. That's very predictive of what you should be looking at for the meta. So, like, the next weekend, you don't immediately bring Palpatine. If everybody's running aggro, it's Palpatine's not super awesome into aggro. Just run Trench, Just kidding. Don't do that.
That's our answer to everything. Is just run Trench, but some of it's true, some of it's not.
So I think that's like that would be to me that would be interesting, but because of all these mid-range things cropping up, we're now seeing like you could see Palpatine rise. Like Palpatine had a good showing in my opinion at Worlds Galactics this year, right? And I think that it could, like, I think like Quinlan is not always the fastest aggro, right? Like, so if you can beat down some of this Vader and Han and Kaz, then like let's bring back the Palpatines, baby. Like, let's just make this a control only meta. I do a lot better against control decks because I know how to play against control decks a lot easier. So it's a lot more fun.
How many people would hate playing in a control meta?
A lot of people. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're wrong, but also so many people would hate that. I love control metas, but I understand why they're not for everyone. People want to play the game for some reason.
Yeah, like you run a control meta, it's like who's gonna flip their Palpatine first because you're wrong every time.
Who draws vigilance first, baby?
Which that also has like it's the same thing as like I've harped on the Force Throw. Like I would not want to run into a million people just all playing very close, identical control decks where vigilance is like the one card you need to win the game, and whoever sees it first wins the game. I hate that. Like those are not fun metas, and that's why I'm still pretty opposed to the force throw and would like to just see it banned. But at the same token, like right now, I don't feel like the meta is so harsh, and I think they are worried. In my opinion, they should be a little bit worried. If you ban force throw, your control could get a bigger share. Like it becomes a little bit more pushing in there. Because if you have one less card to make me discard cards, like now you have to run pillage, which is not as effective of a card compared to force throw. So
and you're really widening the gap between like the versatility of force decks versus the versatility of non-force decks.
Yes. And so I don't think we'll see it, but I still do not like the force throw meta, and if it goes away, like I just feel I could just I'll just be back on control. I probably am going to be back on control anyway, just because it's more my style, I think. Though I have that fancy Vader showcase, so
the wild thing, right? If you look at, I think there's like 17 decks here, tier 1 and tier 2. Not as many of them as you'd expect would be like running force throw. Because it's like out of the top 6 tier 1 decks, it's like just Kylo's running force throw, right? I mean, maybe they're running it in Pilot Luke, but I don't feel like they are.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I doubt it, but I guess I haven't looked at the latest, Pilot Luke decks. So it's like it's just like Kylo, and then it's just like Yoda, Han, Quinlan, Anakin, and then the other Kylo set 2 Kylo. Right, so that's not nearly as much as you'd expect to be like that rampant. Granted, the number is 700 something Han decks, so you will see it a lot more, but they aren't like the most top performing decks are the ones just crushing it, just by like 50% or whatever the deck's running in the top cut at Worlds.
Yeah, and so I think while I feel that the mechanic is undercosted and priced incorrectly as a card in this meta, now with this new set, I do think that like the question I have, right, I guess, is if I feel it is undercosted, if you pull it away, will we see like such a big decrease in force type decks? I don't know if we will. I don't. Like, which also then lends the argument that, well, if you pull it away and you still see a lot of force decks be popular and do well, is force throw really that big of a deal? Like that's kind of the conundrum you run into. Like if it's a big deal and it ruins all the force decks, then that means they fucked up on how they built the force and all of that. Yeah, and on the opposite side, though.
I was going to say, if they ban it and all the other force decks are still fine, that means they designed a really good set, not based around one card.
Yes, exactly. And that's, I would like to see it banned to test that out. I do think Han 2 loses some of its meta share, like farther if they ban force throw, because I think that in that specific deck, it's just too prevalent of a stupid card in that deck that because you can force throw yourself and it doesn't cost you anything really. Yeah,
that's my biggest complaint with force throw, is that you can do it to yourself, which your opponent can't play around other than like killing all your force units, right? That's the one thing. It's like I have that issue with like why am I blanking on that name? For a Cause, right? That's the same issue. It's like, well, I can't control how many like hero cards you have in your deck, right? And I can't prevent this damage in any way, shape, or form, outside of like close the shield gates, which no one ever runs. So it's like, well, this is just straight up unblockable something. Like I literally can't respond to it. That's my main issue for like those kind of cards, that kind of style of card. It's like, well, I literally can't do anything. Like I can't account for something like this happening.
Yeah, and I think that's like the big thing. Like that's a big thing with that force throw. And like I think if you get rid of force throw, I mean, I think if they just redesigned it or whatever or rotted it, like we would be better off. Like you can't, you could put like a limit on what it is, right? Like if you force throw yourself, like before it wasn't a big deal. But I mean, Han has the ability to draw cards. Like in fairness though, just so you know, it's not just key. We saw this last set with Mon Mothma. I ran a deck that allowed me to draw an insane amount of cards. It's definitely something that does exist. And like so I don't think it's just solely this set, you know, force throw. It's just the problem is people made it active. So I'm still advocating they ban force throw and see where the meta shakes out. They can always unban it if like it kills everything. I don't want to ban Han 2 though. I think at this point that's a poor move. I think
that's wild. That seems so
at this point it's demonstrated he's not good enough that you would need to, which is funny because he was not super like amazingly overpowered in all these other sets, right? Like
he disappeared for 2 of them.
Like, yeah, you know, like, and we found it's funny because we found I think that's why Cad Bane is coming back up in the Rise is because Cad Bane beats out these fucking Han decks like nobody's business. He has good game into Han. There you go. I don't care what anyone says. Cad Bane is favored in a Han 2 Blue matchup. Just very, very much so. So, all right. That's probably enough about the meta, right? Like, we don't have to talk about the meta all night. I think it gets boring after a while. FFG Ban force through. There we go. There's my last shout out of the night. I did find some decks.
Oh, sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I was gonna say like they could go the route of like restricting it right to like 2 copies or 1 copy, but I'm not sure if that would work well because then you just feel really, really bad if your opponent drew their 1 copy of force throw and it kind of ruined your life, right? So
yeah, and you got none.
Right. Like I'm not sure which is worse, like outright like banning it so it's never there, or just like restricting it to like 1 copy and then your opponent just pulls it off like in the first hand or something.
Yeah, I think getting rid of it is the better option there, personally. Like, I do understand. Like, you could also instead of restricting it to like more than 1 copy, you could just say like the card you toss can't be more than X cost. Or you could just say you can only toss your opponent's cards. If you do that, like it immediately,
totally it's not yourself.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue with it.
Because you know that changes like a lot of that changes so much on it if you do that, because of the fact that you're stripping their card, but they can at least control a little bit what they're throwing away.
Right.
And then it sucks that you have to build your deck around that, but okay, at least at this point you can't like Kylo throws himself all the time. Like he just doesn't care. And the first Kylo that was great for. The second Kylo, not so much. So. Anyway, let's talk about some new decks, though. Some other decks that I thought were kind of cool. These are what I would call kind of like decks to watch. We've done this, and I guess I will preface this by saying I am including this segment again. And if you don't like this or you feel like this is too much, just tell me. Like, because I actually got quite a few comments asking for us to do more of some of these oddball type decks.
Sure.
And so I've included it like in almost every episode now, because like there's always something that kind of crops up. Spoiler alert, there's a Kitfisto we're gonna cover, because that's a thing. But so this episode, this part of the segment, like I wanted to kind of dedicate not just solely to like just any type of deck, like because we didn't have a ton of huge tournaments this weekend, but we had enough tournaments that I started picking out things that kind of were in the top portion of those tournaments that are coming back. Not every deck is new, by the way. This first one, Sabine, Tarkentown. I'm gonna let Alex take this. Feels like an Alex brew a little bit right here. Except for there's a couple of one-off cards that I'm a little confused on. But Alex, take it away. Tell us a little bit about this.
So Sabine Tarkentown, which cropped up at like the very end of set 3. I actually played something incredibly similar to this. Obviously didn't have set 4 and set 5 cards, so it was like it didn't have like black ones and the Crackshot V-Wings, all that kind of stuff. But it was something incredibly similar. That one did run like 3 copies of the Darksaber though. This one's not. Spoilers, I guess. So it's cool to see it crop back up. So Sabine deck. Triple of the Crackshot V-Wings, 1 Pilot R2-D2, 1 Reckless Gunslinger, triple Soldier of the 501st, triple Daring Raid, 1 Heroic Sack, 1 Off-Aspect Rebel Assault, which I've seen variations of in a Sabine Tarkin town, so it's not super surprising. Well, 1 off is kind of surprising to me, though. 1 Trench Run, double Heroic Resolve, double Anakin's Interceptor, triple of the 2-cost black one, triple Green Squadron A-Wing, triple Red Squadron Y-Wing, double Sabine, double Armed to the Teeth, double Twice the Pride, which is hilarious, double Cassian, double Fleet Lieutenant, double Red 5, double Red 3, triple Wing Leader, and triple Aggression. In the side, you have 2 Cantina Braggarts, which used to be like a main deck for this, a second Heroic Sack, 2 of the 1-cost not Pilot R2-D2s, a second Rebel Assault, a second Reckless Gunslinger, and triple the Spec 4 Soldier. And that is, we have a ton of 1-drops and 2-drop stuff, and we're just going to go super aggro and see how this works. It's a fun deck. But it's, I mean, if your opponent knows how to deal with it, it does kind of fall apart. But this does have a lot more space than the old deck that I used to play, because there's a lot more better space units now, so that probably balances out a lot better.
Yeah, and there's enough 1-cost stuff that like it allows you to be able to play it. I'm actually very, very, very surprised we don't have at least a second Reckless Gunslinger in the main board. Like, that is very key in my opinion for this deck, because you could just leave it in there till the very end, and like it helps you close the game out. It's just like, I'm done. Here you go. Merry Christmas. Is there a reason for Twice the Pride in there? Like, I mean, that almost kills like half your units, and you're running so many space units. Like, that almost kind of feels like a dead card outside of maybe being put on Sabine.
Well, you can put it on space units actually, which is pretty cool. Yes, yeah, it just deals 2 damage to the target. So that's one of the reasons why you do that, is because you're just like, hey, my A-Wing now swings for like 7.
That's
or you put it on black one because it's an upgrade, right? So it gets the extra attack. So that also swings for 7. And at the very, very worst, you could put it on your opponent's card, do 2 damage to it, and have it as slightly as removal. I've done that before as well.
Yeah, I think we talked about that before. That's a dirty play too.
What I know breaks your heart is that this one doesn't actually have any Mr. Bones in it.
I know, it's like, oh, where's my Mr. Bones? At least in the Kylo decks, they run Mr. Bones. I see, like, if I'm going to run a one-off, I would be running a one-off instead of that R2-D2 pilot. There you go. Like, let me have my Mr. Bones in the deck. I don't know.
I mean, I would probably actually run a couple R2-D2 pilots, given the amount of ships you have in here, and probably actually a couple of 2-cost double red Bo-Katans, because those are also very strong.
Yeah. Yeah, because those are the 3/3s, right? You know, they're a 3/3, so like it's a 2-cost 3/3 that you get turn 1. Seems pretty good.
What was nice back in like set 3, when you had the triple Darksabers, you had like triple Sabine, triple Bo-Katan, triple Ketsu, and your Sabine leader, and all of them being Mandalorian, so you could put the Darksaber on either of them and just go to town. It was pretty cool. This is less that and far more Rebel focus, which is why you have the Wing Leader.
Yeah,
but it's a cool deck. I'm not a big fan of Trench Run.
Nope. At least
I don't like the possibility of dying. And none of your ships, like your highest health ship, has 4 health and it's a red 5, which sure, it's thematic, but like, sometimes the gap between cards is really big.
Especially when you play control decks, right?
Especially when you go against Piet decks, like droid decks, when they run 2-cost droids and 6-cost spaceships. Blow up immediately.
Yeah, and I think that, I would agree with you. I think you just ditch that Trench Run. I think I would put in a second Reckless Gunslinger in there. I do agree with you. Maybe the Bo-Katans would be a nice addition. Because if you pull that,
this is a very heavy space, which makes sense for this kind of meta. If space is less of a thing, then you take out the Red Squadron Y-Wings and you replace them with Bo-Katan.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll build this deck. This is a fun deck. I haven't played Red Sabine. Yeah, since probably set 2 or 3. Like, I think like set 2 or 3, I played it a little bit. for a little while. Because I have the hyperfoil aggression, so like that I won at a tournament. So like I have 3 of them, and like they very rarely ever see play compared. Like I wish somebody had given me triple hyperspace foil vigilances, because you know how fucking often I play that card all the time. So like that card is in like all my decks.
Sure. I mean, aggression's like also really good in this meta, right? Because that 4 damage can actually do things, right? If you drop like a Poe early in Hantu or something, you have aggression to kill it for 4 damage. You know, you could do it to any unit. It's not just like a non-leader. The removing 2 upgrades is pretty big as well. And then just freestanding something with 3 less attack is pretty huge in this deck as well. So like aggression's like very, very, very strong in this deck.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Think about it. Just you and I had this the other night. And I won't lie and say I have been playing Trench a little bit more. Where I had 2 Frozen and Carbonites on their units, and somebody, it was not a Sabine, but it was another double red deck, and they played aggression and got both of their units back. And then then I couldn't do anything about it. It's just like, oh, there goes, like, that's a waste of 2 turns for me. And they won. Like, it was pretty, like, the next turn they were able to swing in with all of them, because I couldn't kill them. You know, you couldn't kill them all, and I wasn't anywhere near 8 resources. So
you gotta draw those outmaneuvers, man.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Poe took 2nd place in the Florida PQ. This one lost to the Kylo Tarkentown. I thought it was interesting enough because normally we see Poe as an ECL deck, and this is a Data Vault Poe, which again, I'm a little bit more of a fan of this Data Vault life than I am of the ECL life. Like, it's just, Data Vault is more of a Tanner thing, I think, than like ECL is. And so like I just really like that. And so I was interested in this deck because there's a couple of, like, it has a lot of the same similar cards as an ECL deck, but this one allows you to have more things. So I'll go over the deck. It's 3 Heroic Sacks, 3 They Hate That Ship, which we'll talk about that in a minute, 3 Timelies, 3 Black Ones, 3 of the Red Squadron A-Wing, 3 Luke Pilots, 3 of the Phoenix Squadron A-Rings, 3 Sabines, 3 Ejects, which I don't think we've seen played in a Poe deck since the set dropped. I've not seen that card.
I mean, usually people took them out once they realized this is not that great.
Yeah,
but it does work for Poe.
It does work for Poe.
Bring them out early.
3 Blue Leaders, 3 of the Cassians, 3 of the Falcons that you got to push to get them to start, 3 Red 5s, 3 four Causes, 3 K2SOs, 3 Adelphi. Those are Troll Wings.
I love those Adelphis. Those are such an underrated ship. They're so good.
3 Chewies, Chewie Pilots, 3 Poes, 3 Wreckers, and 3 Radices, which I'm also a fan of. Seeing the 3 Radices, I think that's pretty dope there.
Poe is a resistance card you control. It always has Sentinel.
Yep. So that's pretty nice. It takes you forever to get there because you have no ramp in this deck. So at least not in the main board.
Ship to drop it on 5 resources.
That's true. You also, in the sideboard, they have the 3 Fang Fighters, 3 of the Sundari Peacekeepers, 3 Chams, and 1 Lowly Choose Sides, which I don't know why they even have that in there. But
it's a good card.
Cool.
I would probably reduce 1 Cham to put a second Choose Sides, because Choose Sides is such a backbreaking thing occasionally, because your opponents never see it coming.
Yeah, I think I would dump Ejects as well. Personally, I don't see the point in ejecting. I feel it's a waste of 2 cards, like, because your leader doesn't even get to ready. And I guess I understand, like, if you dump it on the ground, the next turn it can ready and attack, and then if it dies, you can bring it back out again because you legally didn't technically bring it out. I get that, but it's just, I don't know. It's not my. It just feels like for 2 resources you could do a lot other things with it.
It is funny when you eject their Vader pilot out of their ship, though. Like, ejecting other pilots is pretty cool.
That would be awful.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not just solely for Poe, but it's more limited, I would say, if you're not going against a pilot deck.
Yeah, which almost feels like, why not just put that as a sideboard card? Like, if it were me, I would like. I like the Sundari Peacekeepers a lot, though. Like, I would probably want those main deck, though you do have 33 health, so you don't need it as much. But there's just such a threat on the ground if they don't kill it. Like you just run away.
Yeah, they're such
It
a
just
pain.
heals. Yeah, it heals so much.
They got 5 health. They swing for 3 and they restore 2. Yeah, they only
Yeah.
hit back for 1, but like you're not killing it in one shot generally.
Yeah, especially early game. And if they are, they've officially you save 5 damage. You know, so that's usually pretty good, I would say. But I would probably move the ejects to the sideboard. I would probably cut them in the long run. I would have to talk to him and find out why he really wants those ejects. I do like they hate that ship in this deck. Like I do think that's kind of like I try to get that to work a lot before. Even running that in like off aspect in Boba Yellow, just to try to get like my triple dark raid off again after they banned it.
The ship just you just
it saves
play
you
it for cost.
Well,
Like,
it saves you 1 resource.
no,
I
because
don't-
it costs 3 less.
Oh.
So you're paying 3 to make this thing cost 3 less.
I don't know. Then I guess I don't remember why. I
TIE
cut
fighters.
it. Yeah.
It's funny with War Juggernaut because you play. They hate that ship. It's a vehicle that comes in, and then you can just ping the TIE fighters he created with it.
Yeah. I don't know. I like I said, I do like that. I think it's kind of a neat thing. I do like the 3 Poe pilots in here. I'm a little surprised we don't have like a Biggs. Like I think Biggs would be a decent pilot in this deck, though I guess if you don't want to go super heavy pilots, you know.
You know what's really, really fun? Playing They Hate That Ship at 3 resources, dropping a Delphi, and then using its ability on itself. And just swing for 6
Yeah, that is.
at 3 resources.
That's true.
And
That's
then
probably
they
a
have to
pretty
deal
good
with
one.
a 4/6 space unit.
Yeah. You know, that's true. You can also play, you know, the blue leader, right? Turn 1 if you want to, and
You could
take
ambush
it.
into something you just gave them.
Yeah. So yeah, so I do I don't know. I do like this deck quite a bit. I would also kind of look at the K2SOs to say, hey, is the K2SO something that, you know, really needs to be in there? As a 3 of, it might be better as a 2 of, if you are gonna keep it. But there's other things that you could put in there for that K2SO as well.
You can probably also swap a couple like rebel cards for resistance cards of roughly equal things and run like Snap Wexley, who draws
Yeah.
you.
Well, you do
card.
it,
That's
yeah.
always an option. I mean, he got 2nd place at a PQ in Florida, so obviously he knew what he was doing. But
Yeah. Ooh, or those heavy tactical bomber are pretty good
I love
in this
those
deck.
Well, I mean, they're really good when you can like really push their attack value up. But
Mhm.
I have put Poe like at a mono red Poe deck that was running for a bit, and putting Poe into like one of those tactical heavy bombers is very good. Especially when you play like stay on targets or trench run. It's unlikely that they'll kill 8 health, right? And you can trench run, and then with Poe's on there, you just like do 8 indirect damage.
Yeah.
On attack.
Yeah, which is nice. And the trench run, or
They
not
can't trench run it because it's a transport and
Yeah.
not a fighter.
So not that
So
shit.
never
but-
mind. Not that one, but
not
you
that
know,
shit, man.
Stay on target. Give it +2.
There you go.
Swing extra more. Sorry, wrong card.
I do. I don't know. I like the tactical heavy bombers. I would actually consider those in this deck quite a bit.
So many 5 drops though.
I know they do. I know. Yeah, and I don't think you could cut Adelphi's. I don't know. The Chewies are not really a 5-drop, right? So like, you would consider it a Chewie a 3-drop. You know, I would probably go. I would put at least 2 of them in there. I would cut a Chewie and a K2SO. There you go. That's probably like the easiest cut for it. To put 2 of those in there. Especially
just cut the heroic sacks.
Well, you could do that too, but those are there for the
cause.
I don't know. The for a cause helps you close out games, right? And nobody wants to see that card. I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of for a cause. I don't think that's the answer.
I mean, like the easy cut is eject, but
Well, yeah.
we already mentioned that a bunch, right? So tactical heavy bomber's fun. Snap Waxley's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun deck.
All right. Well, let's go on. The next one I had was a Kitfisto. Yeah, it's like blue green. It's red or red green heaven today, I guess. So this came in third at the Bisbane PQ, and I said this one looked a little bit different than some of the ones we'd seen before. So I think we had one that we covered before that didn't have the sin in it and didn't have some of the like the U-wings and the luminous beams. Cards. So, Alex, why don't you cover this one? I thought this was a pretty interesting type deck and thought it would be fun to cover.
Yeah, so there is a YouTube channel out there called Sous Stats who's been working on this Kitfisto deck. This is like his second version, almost exactly. I'm not sure if there's other changes, but it's very close, if any changes at all. And it's a fun deck. I played like a little bit of my own variant of this, and it's super fun. I like Kitfisto. So it's a Kitfisto with a green force base. It's got triple force throw, double sorceress blast, triple Adigalia, triple Anakin's interceptor, which is a Jedi because it's a Ida, which is funny. Triple Gunji, triple Jedi Counselor, double Yoda's lightsaber, double Huyang, triple Maz Kanata, triple Obi-Wan, the Sentinel, triple Red 5, triple General's Blade, triple Plo Koon, a single Kitfisto's Aethersrite, double Mace Windu, double Luminous Beings. That's the one where you can put up the 3 force units from your discard pile on the bottom of your deck and give that many +4/+4. I have closed out and won games with that card. Something about Thrawn Yellow not being able to kill more than one unit because they all have +4/+4. Oh, and a Snoke too, so all of them just got +2/+2. Triple Kylo Ren back, double U-wing reinforcement, double Syndralig, and double the Green Yoda. In the side, you have double Grenade Strike, a double of the Jedi Starfighter. That's the 1/4 on attack, do 1 damage to a space unit. A third Yoda's lightsaber, double bombing run, a single Chewbacca pilot, and then the second and third copy of Kitfisto's Aethersprite. And this deck is very fun. It's very much just like I just do a lot of out-of-hand damage, and will just eventually overwhelm in efficiency. It's cool. Yeah. I mean, like the Jedi Counselors, you know, you want the Kylo Ren backs, you want the Kitfisto's Aethersprites, maybe even the Maz early. And this one doesn't have they cut the lightsabers, which is totally fair. But it was really funny to just like drop a Syndralig with a lightsaber and just have a readied like big 8-swing unit, so it's actually kind of worth playing them. I believe my version has like I cut the U-wings, which hurts, but like I go a lot more endgame things, so I have like a triple Yoda, like a third Yoda, and a third something else. I think it might have been a third Mace Windu, but it works. A lot of out-of-hand damage. Reminds me of Palpatine. Very fun, very cool deck. Just sometimes you get like clogged with the Huyangs and the Maz, and you're just like, I don't have the Force anymore. I don't know what's going on.
I can't do anything.
But it's a really cool deck. It's very fun.
Yeah, and I think that's like, again, like when we talk about some of these decks, like this is something that, you know, we haven't seen a lot of. I expect to see a little bit more of this, you know, like for it. And I don't think I think I'll be honest, I think if you lost Force Throw, I don't think this deck goes away. Like I think this deck actually might become a little bit more strong into some of those, because you no longer have to worry about somebody trying to Force Throw you. You don't have to hold a Force Throw. You could do a lot of other cool things, because there's a couple of units like that you could put in here that are not in here, right? Like there's some lower cost you know, the Jedi type stuff that aren't in here. And like the daughter is a great addition to this deck. I'm very surprised the daughter is not in here. Like,
she's disgusting when Yoda's out.
Yeah. And like she is a better Sentinel than Chirrut. How about that? Because when if you don't know, unless you don't know what you're doing against it, but like, yeah, you like against an aggro deck, like you better kill it. You better figure out a way to kill it, because otherwise, what damage are you? Oh, you're not doing any damage. Okay, sorry.
Well, it depends on how much you have the Force, but yeah,
True.
Like it's a little clunky sometimes, because like Red 5, Maz, Huyang, And the Jedi interceptors don't actually Anakin's interceptors in this case. They don't give you the Force, so it gets a little bit awkward. But you have a lot of Jedi. Kitfisto does 2 damage. One of the reasons why this was starting to catch popularity, because it was very good into Han, because you're just doing 2 damage for 1 resource as long as you attacked with someone. So it was pretty efficient into it. I do really like this deck though. It's very fun. It's super cool. Is it the best deck? Probably not, but it can do a lot more work than you'd expect it to do.
All right, so we're going to move on to Lando Tarkentown. This was 13th place at the Portland PQ. We have not seen a Lando since set 3, I think. Maybe not even since the end of set 2. So this is definitely... I wanted to cover this, and this goes back to one of my testing buddies, Eric. He built this stupid-ass Lando deck back in set 2, and oh my god, did I absolutely hate playing against it. And the first PQ I went to, I took Kira, right? And I was like, well, as long as I don't run into this stupid deck, I'll be fine. Because that stupid deck, I lose every time with Kira to this deck. No questions asked. There was no way to beat this deck with Kira. We ran hundreds of games just to try to break it. And it was funny because at that PQ, there was 2 other people running. At least 2 people running that deck, and I sat next to one of them. I was like, oh, I'm glad I don't have to play you tonight. And that guy was like, oh, I would have rather played you. I was like, I bet you would have. So all right, let's go over the deck. I do like Lando. I think Lando's mechanic is super neat. Very sad it's rotating out, but I do like his mechanic. So we have 3 cartel turncoats, 3 of the cross-checking V-wings, 3 mining guild tides, 3 reckless gunslingers, 3 of the Republic Y-wings, 3 wolf pack escorts, 3 daring raids, 2 jam communication, 2 swoop downs, 3 hotshot blasters, 3 Leias. There you go, Alex. Your Leia's back.
Leia's so good.
Leia's so good.
More 1-drops, basically, is what that means.
2 of the Arm to the Teeth, 3 Cassians, 3 Millennium Falcons that you have to push, 3 of the ready Millennium Falcons,
That's a piece
3
of junk.
Yeah, 3 Sanctioner Subtles, 3 Han Solos, and 2 of Lando's Millennium Falcon is what I call it, because that's basically Lando's Falcon.
It is.
So, then in the sideboard, it's a little wild. 2 Confiscates, a 3rd Jam Communication, 2 Spec Soldiers, 1 Outmaneuver, 2 Techs, and 2 Waylays. Obviously, this deck, I think, does very well if you can get your Jam Communications off, right? And it has his Lando's ability to smuggle things is pretty sweet. I will say, the mechanic behind him, I wish he had been built a tiny bit differently, but the mechanic behind him, this is a very fun deck to play. I am a control player, and I like playing this deck. There are so much weird lines you can take with the smuggling portion of it that it's pretty cool. Again, I think it's a little weird seeing some of these 3 costs, you're now running 6 Falcons, which is fine, right? You got to have some in game, but it's just that get out and push Falcon. I don't know how much that does with this deck. I feel like you could probably replace that with a red 5, and you wouldn't feel
your only pilot is Han pilot, right? So you're not getting the other benefit from it.
Yes, exactly.
You could probably run Bosheks because you have 5 even cost cards.
Yep,
I guess you got 7 with Lando's Falcon, so you might as well just draw more, right?
Yeah.
And then have another pilot in there.
Yep, yeah, you're right. You could put Boshek. I like the Boshek idea. I think that's actually a really good call. I think putting Boshek in there, period, just is a good call. The reason a lot of people don't we didn't want to do those type of things is right because it makes your play slower. This deck hits quick and fast, pretty much. Sure. You're able to have initiative a lot of the time with this deck. But I think the big thing would be is I think those Bosheks. I don't know. It's just that stupid Han 4 pilot I've been playing too much of. That I like the Bosheks so much in that.
Yeah, I mean Boshek is almost a guaranteed draw 2 in this deck, right?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised they don't have Surprise Strike Punchets. breaking ins, maybe, or even in the sideboard breaking in.
Yeah, the one-off like outmaneuver, like I don't know what that's for. Like you got one, you're never gonna see it. Like I guess you can smuggle it out with tech.
Run a couple in there because then you can, like actually exhaust the space stuff. But yeah,
well, I like this deck though. Like the core value of this deck. Like I think that this is something, and I'll be honest, this popped up online a couple of times against me. I've had to play against this deck more than one time, so I think this deck could see a rise in popularity. And this is a deck that if you don't know how to play against this deck, you will lose pretty quickly too. If you know how to play against it, it's not as challenging. It's kind of similar to like that Sabine Tarkentown deck. It has one thing it wants to play, but I'll tell you, if this deck
fast,
if this deck rises up, Scanning Officers will be back. So get them for me. I've got 7 hyperspace foil Scanning Officers. If you would like to buy some at $10 a piece, I'll happily sell them to you.
How did you even manage to acquire 7?
Drunk Chris ordered 3 of them back in. Yeah, so one was in set 2 and one was in the end of set 3 because I couldn't find them, and then I realized they were just in another deck somewhere. Because Scanning Officer is just like one of my favorite cards. Like you should know this if you've listened to the podcast since its origins. Scanning Officer Tanner was a super high-end Scanning Officer, and it won me more things than you can imagine because of that stupid ass card. Which actually, like, I don't know. Does Scanning Officer touch plot cards?
No, it's just smuggle, right?
So maybe I'll get a second Scanning Officer for plot cards. Anyway. All right, I like this deck. I agree with you. There should be there should be a little bit more reach with it, but I think overall, like, it's a pretty decent deck. Let's move on. I had to put this one in here because this came in 8th, and like I was like, all right, like I haven't seen a version of this for set 5 yet, and I was like, so let's cover this. I have a local that loves this deck, by the way. Like this is like his absolute favorite deck. So since he started listening to the show, I decided to throw this in here, not only just because it made 8th, but because it's a Rex Droid Factory deck. Alex, what's this deck, and what is it? It's got Porgs in it, baby.
Yeah. It's an updated Unity of Purpose Rex deck, which they're always, so they're super sacky, but they're fun. So Rex Droid Manufactory, the lowest health base in the game at 24. You have triple Porgs because they're 0-cost 1/1s and they're differently named, and also they're Porgs, so they're cute. Triple Clone Deserter, triple of the 1-cost Mazkanata. Triple of the 1-cost white R2D2, not the pilot. Triple Village Tender. I know you love your Ewoks.
I do.
And it fits right in the deck because they got it hidden and everything. Triple C3PO, the combo with R2D2. 1 2-cost Echo. Don't know why. Double the Freetown Backup, an actually underrated card. Triple Gunji, double Admiral Akbar. Triple of the 3-cost Admiral Yularen. Triple Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, it's just the 1-turn Sentinel, but you do have 2 Force units, being Gunji, and triple Oppo Rancisis. You actually have a fair amount of Restore.
Yep.
So, like, you'll get the 2 Restore off of him, and you can get the Raid off the double Sindari Peacekeepers that are in this deck.
It's got a 5 butt 2, right? It's a 3. At minimum, it's got 5 health. So
yeah. And there's a reason why he's double green, right? So,
yes.
Triple Resupply, double Bright Hope, triple Command, triple Unity of Purpose, and double U-Wing Reinforcement. In the side, you got triple Confiscate, triple the 2-cost Colonel Yularans, a single copy of Blue Leader.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they only have 1 Prestige foil. Maybe they have a serialized. I don't know. A 3rd Bright Hope, and then 2 Eager Escort Fighters. And
so
it's a Unity of Purpose Rex deck. Get the 6 resources, play Unity of Purpose, win in 1 turn.
Yep. I do not like the one-off Echo. I don't. I think that's
a little bit kind of strange to me.
I don't understand the Akbars outside of the Restore piece. I guess
I mean, you play a lot of units, right? So Akbar, you drop them, you do like 4 to 5 damage.
I guess. I guess you're right. I guess it's like
That's basically what they're there for.
Okay.
Clear the way.
It just feels weird to me. I also don't know if you really need the resupplies either. Like I get why you do have them because it forces you, it makes you be able to go up to the Unity of Purpose a lot faster. But
yeah, you get to play Rex faster, which is pretty huge.
So I mean, I could see it. I would try a version without it if it were me.
I don't like the resupplies. Because, like, kind of Command does roughly the same thing. I'd rather play more units out than play the resupply. But I understand why it's in the deck. Like, that was still a pretty popular choice.
Yeah, because to me, I would blue leaders would be a must in this. Like, why there's only one in the sideboard is beyond me, and why it's not main decked is completely beyond me.
They had one serialized blue leader, and they want to show it off by putting it in the side.
Like, I would dump the resupplies and throw blue leaders in. That's what I would put in there. Yeah, they never bring it in just because it's serialized. It just sits there. It's like, look, this is my sideboard card.
This is a sideboard card. I'm sorry, I have it upside down.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I like the deck. I think this, to be perfectly honest with you, this deck annoys the piss out of me because if you don't have a way of controlling it, it can just fail. I will tell you,
it gets out of hand sometimes.
That there is that, I can't remember the name of the card, but there's an upgrade card that Mike played that I think is really, really good because it like gives +1 based on different uniques that you have or different troopers that you have. I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up.
Of like squad support.
It might be. Whatever I know is like if he had like 2 or 3 units, if you couldn't control all the units and then he played that, like it was like a pain in the ass because you have to kill that thing, but then he could have a sentinel. This also doesn't have echo-based defenders in it, right? Like
right, it's got Obi-Wans now.
I don't know if I like that. I would almost rather have my echo-based defenders because typically they at least trade with things, you know?
Sure. Squad support is probably the card you're thinking of. It gives you +1/+1 for each trooper unit you control.
There you go. Yeah,
that's for 3.
Yeah, I hate that stupid card. But Mike played it very effectively.
There was a lot more troopers back in the older version of it.
Yes. And that's why he played it. And like when it got between that and the Unity of Purpose, it's like fuck. I have no idea what you do like if they swarm the board for it. But anyway, this, like I said, I still think these decks are fun to play. This is a very fun deck to play for it. I'm a little sad there's no like other card draw in here either because it feels a little weird to have those porgs in there because
zero cost.
It's a 0 cost. I would almost just rather play the Curious Flock in here as a replacement because it's a 1 cost 1/1, but you could also upgrade it with a bunch of different stats.
I mean, like I guess a first turn of like Maz Porg Village Tender is kind of annoying because Maz is now a 3/3.
True.
Or if you have more porgs, Maz could be like a 4/4 on turn 1.
let me. I'm spending my whole hand, so I have nothing in my hand, but I'm going to have a bunch of porgs on the ground.
Hey, at a sealed event, I played against a guy, and his first turn was 2 porgs and a Curious Flock. He played 3 units on turn 1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it was just
I don't
cool.
think he won, but
a 1/1, a 1/1, a 2/2. Yeah, he ripped apart his hand and didn't do much after that, but it was like, oh, that's a little frustrating.
Yeah, because what are you going to do against it? So I like the deck. I do like the droid. I think that like that deck is neat in itself. And like I do think like if you want to bring this to a PQ, like I do think it's like an okay choice if we stay in an aggro meta. Because this deck can outperform other aggro decks if they aren't controlling you. And if you play this against control and you could put out more than 1 unit a turn. Control decks have a little bit harder of a time stopping some of this because usually this deck doesn't need 8 resources ever. Like, if you get to 8 resources, they cry a little bit. So, but all right, Alex, you ready to move on to our last segment for tonight? We're gonna do a deck tech, baby. We're gonna do a live deck teching. That's some shit. Normally, like we have this all planned out, but I thought it would be fun. You sent me a Qui-gon Blue Force deck, and I said, you know what? I have wanted Qui-gon to work for a while. Let's make it work. So we decided we want to do a deck tech tonight. And I won't lie and tell you that I have a million reps in, but I will tell you I actually did play this deck. I played probably about
very fun, isn't it?
10 to 15 of it games of this, and like I won't tell you I had more than a 50% win rate, but it was very fun to play, and like people don't know what you're doing. Like people
it is
have no
actually
idea
pretty hard to play at the beginning.
So yeah, so I thought that it would be fun. Let's do a deck tech on Qui-Gon Jinn. All right, so we'll start kind of with the before we get into the deck, I want to talk a little bit about the overall deck strategy. I think that's kind of an important thing, right? Is to talk a little bit about what Qui-Gon does. His showcase is amazing. It's very orange.
Yes, I love the showcase. Actually, the color contrast is very cool.
Like, I'm very tempted to pick this up, showcase up, just because like it's like the Talzin is very green, and then this one's very orange. And in my my deck box, I could just have one on each side, and it would be like super awesome looking.
Oh, I should do that
in my twin sons. Like, it just they work so good together, right? And if you have a yellow box, it's even better, I bet. All right, so this is our Legends of the Force Qui-Gon Jinn leader. You pair him with a Force base, right? Get your Force. You have to have Force, otherwise you can't use his ability. So he has to be paired with a Force base, no matter what. Essentially what he does is he allows you to spend the Force and pick up a unit you have and play a unit you have in your hand for
a non-villainy unit.
A non-villainy unit in your hand. Thank God that's in there, actually.
You can pick up villainy units, which is interesting, I guess. You just can't put them down.
Yeah. And so essentially you play that card for free, which is pretty good depending on the cards you have, right? And there's some weird niche combos, I think, that we'll talk about a little bit later, that I didn't quite call out in all the slides, but we'll talk about them because they're interesting to talk about.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like really. It is a kind of a steep learning curve for this, and it is like a mid-rangey deck, so you can out the first Crate Dragon, but outing a second Crate Dragon is very difficult.
Yeah, especially when they play two in a row.
Yes,
I would say those are the games I 100% lost. The ones that anybody got a crate or like somebody had a Crate Dragon and a Bendu. I was like, all right, well, there goes that game.
Yeah. So this is Blue Qui-Gon. My local Justin, he got a Qui-Gon showcase, so he wanted to build a Qui-Gon deck. Blue seemed like the natural fit. I told him I'll get back to him in like a month or so. I'll get back to him on a Qui-Gon deck because we were going to compare notes, and then it took me about a month or so, and I made this, and I like this version a lot. So Qui-Gon Blue Force, obviously. It's got triple Owen, triple Secretive Sage, triple Yaddle, triple Youngling Padawan, a single Bamboozle, which I know is super strange for me, but I'm at 53 cards, so I can't really add more. Triple Sneak Attack. I'm testing out double of the 3-cost Twilight Ahsoka. That used to be Vernestra. I'm not sure which one I like more, so I'm testing out this Ahsoka. Got triple Concord Dawn Interceptors, triple J-type Nubian ships, triple Village Protectors, double Yoda, triple the 4-cost Ahsoka, triple Chariot, triple Shatterpoint, triple Plo Koon, double Depa Balaba, double main deck Change of Heart, 1 Rivals Fall, triple Luke Skywalker, double Qui-Gon, and double Redemption. And the sideboard, this is still pretty fluid. It's the second and third copy of Bamboozle, 2 copies of Fel the Dragon, 2 copies of Graceful Purgle, a second Rivals Fall, a third Redemption, and right now I'm testing double Chewbacca, the 8-cost Chewbacca. It's between that and like Zillo Beast or something, a little bit more end game stuff. But yeah, this deck is a little bit of a learning curve, especially with which units to pick up and what times and the opportunity cost around that. But it's a wild deck. It's fun. You can just do so many just silly, annoying things to your opponent. Your opponents definitely don't like playing against it.
No, and I think like that's like the gimmick here for some of this is the fact that you're able to pick up ships. And I'm going to ask a question starting off. You don't have Falcons in here. I know they don't give you Force, but when you pick up and you play a Falcon, it comes in ready, right? So you have 0 Falcons in here.
Originally I had a version with Falcons, and it just it didn't gel well. So, I also had Vernestras, right? Just for the extra thing like that. It just didn't really, it didn't work. I got a lot of 3s. The Falcons don't really bounce well because you don't really want to play your 2 drops. So I'd rather play the 3 drops that give me some sort of immediate impact.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was the main question I had, about the deck. But I think it's super fun. There's some niche things that can happen. But why don't we get into what I would call like our turn 1 play, right? So we have a turn 1 play. And we're going to kind of go through the deck a little bit this way. It's just a little bit different than we did before, but I think like this kind of will talk through, help people if you want to get into this deck. This is kind of how you can like walk through the type of play you want to have with this deck, and it doesn't have every play line, just as an FYI.
Yeah, there's like a lot of variations of play lines you can do, so like that's why it's very difficult to just be like, well, step 1 do this, step 2 do this, because it's all like bouncing your own stuff back and forth trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So
this is just what I would call our guide for the turns, and we could talk about some of the nuances as we go through it. So, for example, turn 1 play, you almost always want a Youngling Padawan, right? But you don't always want it if you can't pay, if somebody's just going to power the dark side it, right? That's where you have your Owens, you have your Secretive Sages, you have your Yaddles. Those are all obviously turn 1 plays for it. Alex, is there ever a turn 1 play? Like, do you ever not play Owen turn 1 if you have them in hand?
Honestly, I'd rather play any of the other 2-cost ones. Owen is fantastic, right? He's very annoying. Like, people have to kill him, or else you're just restoring 2. But he doesn't really give you the force. So he doesn't really facilitate a lot of the deck. So I'd rather have the force units. But man, Owen is so good. He's so annoying for your opponents to deal with.
Yeah,
and he's also being a 1-cost, you can do things like you could bounce like a Secretive Sage that lost his shield, or like a Yaddle that's got 3 damage or something on it, and bounce it up to play Owen. So you still have some sort of a board presence that will eventually fetch you something.
Yeah. So I have this is dumb, but have you ever played the young Padawan to then bounce it and play Owen for free, and then play the young Padawan the next turn? Because like, yeah, you lost your force, but you're guaranteed to get it back, and you don't have to worry about somebody killing it.
It just seems like you just play the Owen, right? Instead of
then you would have the force. I don't know. It's just a funny thing.
I haven't. No.
All right. I did that once, but so if we kind of move on to go our turn 2 plays, like this is kind of where the rubber meets the road, right? This is where the decisions have to happen, right? Like if you need Sentinels, the Sentinels are a great start. You have 1 in space, 1 on ground. Being a mid-range deck, you want to make sure that you are stopping 1,000,000 pounds of damage coming through. It also lets you play that, use the force, pick one of them back up. So like if somebody strips your Village Protector shield, do you care? Like, do you care as much? Oh no, because you can just pick it back up, and then you don't have to worry about it.
Yes, like the 3-drop Sentinels, right? Like Concord Dawns, a little bit less effective than they were before, right? Obviously, with just a little bit of an increased power curve. But it was really annoying is if you have something to swing into the Concord Dawns, like the classic like Millennium Falcon swings at the Concord Dawns, bounces at hand. You take it back up, play it next turn, and then you kill the Interceptors, and you're basically fine. This time when they swing into the Interceptors, you can just bounce the Interceptors back up.
Yeah, and
play a Sage or a Youngling or something like that. Same for the Village Protectors, right? It's just very frustrating to go into them. But I'll get to why those are also very important in the next slide, because those are great.
Yep. Then you also have the Nubian ship, starship. That is amazing. You can literally play that and bounce that stupid card back, and it's free card draw.
It's literally free card draw minus the body. Yeah,
it's great. Like it's great to have a 2/4, sure, but I will tell you, like the best part is you can just pick it up, and if you know that you're going to put something to space to kill it, you can just resource it then and consider yourself lucky that you were able to get that extra card.
I mean, if you have like like a J-type Nubian outright, you can bounce it up and then just like replay it for 3 resources. Not obviously with Qui-Gon's ability, but like you can just continue drawing off of them. They're really good. Like favorable delegate was a consideration for, because it has the same text, right? Draw a card when defeated, discard 1. But the 2 drops just it didn't gel well, and not having the force. But yeah, bouncing a J-type, even if you don't replace it, like you can replace it with like a Yaddle, and you're just like, this is perfect. But like just bouncing them is just really nice. They're just good card draw stuff.
Yeah. And in this deck, it works out very, very, very well because you never have to worry about losing that unless that's your only unit on the board, right? And they power it or something.
Yeah, or they like open fire it, which is like, okay, well, I guess you killed my 3 type. I'll just discard the card that I just drew, right? Like,
yeah,
they don't actually lose out on much.
No, it's not the same. Like, and I agree. Like, this ship is a lot better in my opinion than the favorable delegate. Like, just hands down. Like, there's less things that can kill it. They have to use spells more than anything else to kill it. And so like it makes it, and a lot of people will ignore it. Like, people just don't care about it. And now that I think about it, I played against a kid in pre-release that played this and never used Qui-Gon's ability on this, but was playing Qui-Gon with his ship in his deck. And I thought about it. He should have 100% used that all the effing time.
Yeah.
Instead of it as a ship, because he could just pick the damn thing up and draw cards. And in draft or sealed, right? Like, that's one of the best things ever. So the other cards on there, like Yoda's a good play if you need the Force. A lot of your 2 drops are like if you want to play your Concordon and then pick it up because they're going to kill it next turn and drop like the Youngling again or a Secret of Sage. That's always like, when I was playing it, I found very rarely outside of that Nubian starship did I pick anything up. Most of the time I did not want to waste my Force unless I was guaranteed to be able to get it back next turn, because there's something bigger that I like to play on turn 4 or turn 3.
Like dropping down into a Youngling is very, very strong from like a Village Protector because it gives you the Force back so you can actually do something with it next turn. But yes, notably, the Concord Dawns, Village Protectors, and J-types do not give you the Force.
Yes. So let's move on to like turn 3 plays, right? Like, we'll talk. This is probably like the most crucial churn in your whole deck. I found out.
This is where the deck goes.
Yeah. So obviously your turrets and your Ahsokas, they stop damage. Like, Ahsoka is super amazingly good in this deck, like better than in the Quinlan deck. Like, the Ahsoka just, you can literally like, it's almost like you took what Cal can do for the Force and gave it to Qui-Gon with that card. And it strips their hand on top of it.
It's cool that she can exhaust things more times. It's just like, I'm just ripping a card out of my opponent's hand. Yeah. And then I could bounce up, like, so the 4 drops are huge, right? I mean, Chariot's very strong, right? You don't really want to bounce something into Chariot because you don't get the Force for the defensive aspect of it. But man, if like Chariot gets like 3-4 damage on him, or if he's gonna die, you just pop him up and drop a Village Protector, and you tell him you really just can't get through my wall. And then next turn I'm gonna play Chariot, or Ahsoka. Ahsoka's just you just play Ahsoka, just bounce her back up, play Village Protectors or a J-type Nubian, like strip a card from your opponent, draw a card. But also, triple copies of Sneak Attack in this deck is wild, because it lets me play above curve and then swing and then play a card on curve
for free.
No downsides. Yeah, with no downsides of Sneak Attack. Turn 2, like I have done so many like Sneak Attack 4-cost Ahsoka in. Rip a card, exhaust one of their guys, swing with Ahsoka, and then pop her back up for Village Protectors, and that's just like the most annoying play you can do. Obviously, like Shatterpoint is kind of the removal. There's not much. There's a Rivals, a Bamboozle, and then triple Shatterpoint. I know it's a lot of like, I need the Force to do things with this, but that's why there's so many ambush units in this deck. It's because you generally keep the Force.
Yeah, and I think that the Shatter Points are a good, like, we were debating these between these and Fells in our Hanu Blue deck, and like we ended up with 2 and 2. But like Shatterpoint in this deck feels better than Fell for the pure fact that it always is online to kill something with 3 health no matter what, or because you have the Force, you could just murder like Luke's and
Yeah.
anything that's not a leader.
You don't really want to, this has, you don't really want Shatterpoint as you're like, well, I'm only at 4 resources, I gotta out this thing, but sometimes it's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they play a Secretive Sage, and next turn they play a Fallen Lightsaber on there, and that just gets really annoying. So you can just be like, well, you're Shatterpoint, we're good.
Yep. And so, if you have to become the control deck, you Shatterpoint is the on-cost card that you can play. And obviously, again, you can play... I threw these on here as a repetitive nature. What are you playing when you're putting them down? You're playing Village Protectors, you're playing another Force unit. I will tell you that if I don't need... When I was playing it, if I do not need Village Protectors specifically... to stop them, I was playing a Force unit for the pure fact of being able to get that Force back.
Yep.
I mean, and Yoda heals too as well, right? So if they have low cost or low attack stuff on board, especially if it's a Vader pilot deck, oh no, you want to hit me for 2 damage, Yoda works pretty well for some of those things, surprisingly enough, because he's just giving you a middle finger. And if you have him and Yaddle down, it's even worse because
he's killing 4 a turn.
It's just all right, here you go. Merry Christmas.
There's a lot of Jedi here. Notably not that Ahsoka, or that Chariot really, but there's a fair amount of Jedi here for Yaddle, which is pretty cool. But your 4 drops are so big in this deck because both picking them up to drop good utility drops with J-type Village Protectors, Concordons, even the 3-cost Ahsoka, just getting the ambush off is pretty cool. But also having larger drops into them is really big as well. Chariot's just such an annoying piece to go against.
Yep. Yeah, and I would say, that's kind of where we move on. We what is your turn 4 and 5 play? And I combine these together because, to be perfectly honest with you, these are even more fluid of a type of turns, right?
Yeah.
Because depending on the type of deck you're playing against, I have found the 2 things you never resource is Depas and Ahsokas. Yep. Those are the 2 cards I will never resource ever. Out of everything else, I did that one time. I had 2 Ahsokas in hand, and I was like, I can resource the one. Nope. Don't do it, because if they kill your Ahsoka, you just cry. You do not want to do that because you just cry.
There's a lot of times where I'm my 4-cost resources play Ahsoka, then I immediately pop her back up and drop Yaddle or something, right? It's not even a 3-drop. It's just I'm ripping a card out of your hand, and I'm going to do it every single turn because I'm going to continue replaying this Ahsoka every turn.
Exactly. Yeah, and so your turn 4 play is usually wrapped around Ahsoka, right? That's really what you're doing is you're stalling and putting down sentinels to stop them from being able to just overwhelm your base, because you have good top end units in this deck. You have some very good top end units. Because once you get to be able to hit, the best was being able to drop a Luke, kill something, pick your Luke back up, and then be able to play a Depa out of hand and kill a second unit. Now, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but that's just insane value. And so your turn 4 play is leading up into your turn 5 play. So your goal is to control their board to the point where you don't feel pressure or feel overwhelmed. And you don't want your Qui-Gon to just immediately die. It sucks if you flip Qui-Gon and they kill him. Unless they use a Rival's Fall, and then you shake their hand and say, thank you for wasting 6 resources on my guy. I don't care. My 4/7 does not give a shit.
Yeah, also, noticeably, at turn 4 is when you can play Plo Koon for 5. Right? He swings for 6, and he gives you the Force just by playing him because he has ambush, as long as he has something to ambush into. And then a lot of my turn 4 is I play Plo Koon, I kill something, I pop Plo Koon, play Ahsoka, rip another card out of your hand. It's so funny.
Yep. And like I said, when you move out of that turn 4 play and you're looking at your leader flip play, you can actually double use Qui-Gon. And when we talked last week, and I guess this is kind of, if this as a standalone, we had a Han 4 Tarkintown player on our show, and we did a pseudo deck tech with him on his deck and his run at Worlds, right? And the thing that you learned about Han 4 was when Han comes out, he gets such a double churn. Qui-Gon is very similar. You get a double churn with Qui-Gon. If you get
diminishing returns on it, but
you can
do things. Oh,
yes.
I will. So I've done this in games, and this is the dream turn 5 play. Is you sneak attack Luke, right? Because you're at 6 resources. So you sneak attack Luke, you give something -3/-3. You swing with Luke, you do 6 damage wherever, you restore 3, then you pop him up with Qui-Gon, and then you play Depa, and then she ambushes and probably kills something because she's 5 attack. Then you flip Qui-Gon, and then you swing with Qui-Gon, you pop up Depa and drop like an Ahsoka or a Plo. In the game that I played, it happened to be a Plo, but like Ahsoka's also really, really good in that scenario, and that's just like you just wreck entire boards on Qui-Gon's flip turn between if you have a Depa and a Plo in your hand.
Yeah, and 6
you
resources.
output so much damage out of nowhere. Or like I've killed leaders by like swinging Qui-Gon into their leader, popping up a card, and then dropping like a Plo Koon or a Depa or something. Gar Saxon, right? Like he's got 7 health. I swung Qui-Gon in there, popped a Depa up there, and dropped a Plo and killed it.
Yeah,
Like and they can't respond because it's the same swing, right? As the on attack when he finishes and lives. Then you just drop the ambush unit, and they can't do anything about it. They have no recourse. It's silly.
Yeah, and the big thing is he has to live, right? So like if they have like a blast or something on Gar, you cannot do that.
Sure,
you just die. But yes, but yes, again, like yes, your big thing is how can you get his ability off and still flip? Because I have done it where I've sacrificed his ability to be able to flip him to do that, to be able to basically do that, swing in with him, pop up, whatever the fuck I had on the board, and play something else to ambush in. And there's other ambush cards we could look at. The problem is the one I will tell you is really good is if they have a little bit more go wide is the 3-cost Ahsoka. Like I didn't put that in any of our slides, only for the pure fact that 6-cost Ahsoka is like you just kind of go, like who wants to play that? But what's fun about that and about that card, right, is the pure fact that you are typically only have 1 or 2 units on your board at a time. Like that's if you have more, then you should just win the game. You don't need Qui-Gon.
If you play like Village Protectors early and like are pretty cautious at like protecting that, you can have a like decent size board, like 3 units or whatever when Qui-Gon flips. But that's like very Sentinel heavy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yes, that Ahsoka is not irrelevant. That's like again, that used to be Vernestra, but I found when I spend the Force and ready her, she's just such a huge target that I don't get the Force back, and I end up like shooting myself in the foot. So I'd rather play the ambush Ahsoka. It's like 3-4, so she can kind of live. And worst comes to worst, I don't have to spend the Force to pop her back up. I can just use 2 resources, which isn't great, but sometimes is relevant.
Yeah, if they start stripping your hand right and you don't have a lot of cards, you pay to pick her back up.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like I said, she's not like the best thing in the world, especially if you are able to keep units out. But if you aren't able to keep your units out because they are like trying to control you in some ways, like that's what the most annoying thing is. Like that when I played this and like somebody would try to kill my unit and then I would pop it back up and you would get a little angry face in the chat. And then when you do it a second time, you get a second angry face. And it's like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to let you kill my Sentinel. But a lot of times what I found is that, you don't have enough. So Ahsoka actually becomes online. And like we were testing Ahsoka in some of the other, like some other decks and stuff like that I had been playing and found that she just wasn't super great. You could question, like, could you run Ahsoka's lightsaber in these stacks? Because you have 6 Ahsokas now, but I don't know.
No, don't do that. Don't add upgrades on the stuff that you're popping back up constantly.
So, all right, let's move on to what I would consider turn 6 and up. Basically, this is your end game. I think sneak attack is your friend. Qui-Gon Jinn himself, the unit, is your friend. He is absolutely like I had him in my Quinlan deck over Han for the pure fact that he's a 7/5 and he can bounce a unit from your opponent's board. So by the time he comes out, my goal with Quinlan usually is how do I, like, if I'm bleeding, I have to stop it, right? In this deck, it just does stupid. It just does even more stupid things because you can play him, ambush with him, pop him, right? Then play Depa, ambush, pop her, or not pop her, then you can play like another cheaper unit or something like that if you want. But it's just being able to hit for 12 ambush damage in one churn for 7 resources is insane. It's just like, that's just way too good value. Like you could kill a crate dragon, you eat 13 damage, but you could kill a crate dragon, right? So you could kill all these different things that come out. And like it becomes not even fair. Like some guy played his Maul, ambushed his Maul, in the next turn I played my Qui-Gon, ambushed and killed his Maul, made him put his Sentinel that he had played a turn earlier back into his deck, and then was able to pop him up and play a Plo Koon down, and then Plo Koon's just sitting there, right? Like
how Qui-Gon only like bounces something if Qui-Gon's defeated.
Yeah, so Maul defeats him. Effect. Yeah, when he ambushed in the Maul, he died. He died instantly. Maul kills him. He does not live to Maul.
Yes, I'm just trying to figure out where you didn't bounce anything up to play something else.
No.
Unless you had something else on the board.
Nope, I did not bounce anything to play him up. No, I killed him, bounced his Sentinel, and then was able to play Plo Koon and let Plo Koon just sit there. And then he had nothing on the board, and I had a Plo Koon. So.
Yeah, I mean, also like sneak attacking in Qui-Gon for just like an earlier ambush for 7 if need be, or sometimes just swing at 7 on base and then pop them up for a Depa is disgusting. Like sneak attack's so good in that deck. Actually, same with Change of Heart for roughly the same reason. Like you can steal their unit. Swing into theirs with it. If that unit doesn't die, you can pop their Change of Hearted unit back into their hand and then drop something for less value.
Yep.
On your side, which is really nice. I've done that so many times to like pose, where I'm just like, that's a pretty Poe. I'm gonna Change of Heart it and then swing with something, and then he's still alive. I guess I'll have to give it back to your hand, but I'll play an Ahsoka and hopefully rip a card out.
Yeah, mine was a crate dragon. I stole their crate dragon. They did damage to the crate dragon instead of my base, and I was like, because I think he thought I was going to swing into one of his other units. I just swung into his base instead. Yeah. And then I popped that damn thing back up and played a redemption for free and healed. And I don't think they knew exactly what to do at that point. I still lost the game, but he had another crate dragon that he could play. But still, it could be a very dirty tactic, and we don't get true sides, right? And we don't have traders. Right. We don't have any of these other things. So Change of Heart is just wholeheartedly a good card all around. Let's talk a little bit about redemption, because there's some sneaky redemption things.
The redemption's so stupid in this deck. I love it. So you play a redemption, you heal 8 or whatever, is below the damage threshold they can do to it, right? Like if they have Palpatine, you heal 7 or Talzin, you heal 7, and then you just pop it back up and play like a Luke or a Qui-Gon or literally anything. I have popped redemption up and played an Owen because that was the only card I had in my hand. Don't care. Next turn I can heal another 7 or 8 off my base with redemption and then pop it back up and do it again and just heal 7 a turn, 8 a turn, as long as they don't kill the redemption. I've sneak attacked the redemption in, healed a bunch, swung with it, and then popped it back up for like a Luke. Just whatever.
Yeah, and because it's like the advantage Kylo Target Town had, right, was that they could discard cards and like they don't lose a card because they're able to draw one. This deck has the same similar synergy advantage because you're picking your own units right back up. So it's not like you're losing your card value, and again, unless they make you discard, right, then whatever. Sure. But that's a different thing. So the idea behind it is just you get such good value around your cards. By the time you hit your 8-9 resources, you shouldn't have to worry too much about the control decks because they aren't going to be able to outpace the amount of smaller units you can still deploy, plus the fact that you can continue to pop and rotate your healing and your debuff units. So
yeah, I mean, I've also like dropped a redemption and not healed like a lot off my base, but I've healed like off Chariot, which is very annoying, or off my Qui-Gon to make him last around a little bit longer. Or, like, they did a lot of damage to Luke, and I just heal it. Like, the redemption's wild in this deck. It's so silly. As long as they can't kill it, or like you play it so you don't die to like an open fire or something they might have. It's really silly. Or you can just, still play it as like a big 6/9 Space Sentinel.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk a little bit about the sideboard, and we'll wrap it up for tonight. I think, again, the sideboard's in flux, right? Like, I agree with you. Like, I haven't even been using the sideboard when I was playing the deck. I just was playing the straight-up deck. But let's talk a little bit about the sideboard and kind of, like, what the idea behind each of the different cards is. So we obviously have the additions are the second Rivals Fall, the second and third Bamboozled, a third Redemption, right? Those are additions to things we already have in the deck. What are those
for? The Bamboozles are like against any like pilot deck, or like the new Kylo, right? Who just like, you bounce all the equipment to his hand, but like he is exhausted. You could probably kill him. And then they have to redo their whole equipment shenanigans. And it's free, as long as you have another yellow card in hand, and that really messes with people and trips them up. At the very worst, it's an exhaust. At the very best, it's just like, well, I just ruined your entire like pilot deck or your Voltron Kylo deck kind of thing. So that's why I run one in the main. If you pull enough like J types, you can draw pretty well in the deck. The second Rivals is more for like bigger endgame stuff, like they're running Crate Dragons and like Devastators, or Yodas, like any big late game units where you just need a little bit more control than just 3 shatter points in Rivals. And then the third Redemption is just more late game healing stuff. If they have a space deck as well, it's just like, well, it's still a chunky 6/9 Sentinel. It's just more late game healing shenanigans.
Yep. Then you have new stuff edition. We have 2 Grateful Purgles, 2 Fells, and 2 Chewbaccas.
Yes. So the Grateful Purgles are just more anti-space things. I don't interact with space too much. I mean, I got the triple Concord Nons. The J-type Nubians aren't really going hard in that. So it's just a little bit bolster up against really heavy space aggro decks. And also, like, they're 5 costs, so when you can pop them up, you can drop things like Ahsoka. Which is pretty nice. Because, they take 5 damage or whatever. You just pop them back up and drop something else and then play them next turn. The double Fells are for, again, late game stuff. Mostly Crate Dragons, because they are everywhere right now. But it's just more removal. And then I'm working on this one. This is Chewbacca. I keep like debating having like a bigger endgame piece, like a Zillow Beast or something, where they just have to deal with a 10/10 Sentinel, or like not a Sentinel, just a 10/10 unit, and it's got a decent when played to give everyone like less attack, and it's a 9, so you can actually pop it up and play anything else in the deck. But I'm working on Chewbacca's right now, because Chewbacca's also have a when play where it's just essentially a takedown, and that could be for any unit. So like if they have a late game leader like Avar Chris, or like something huge or whatever that I can whittle away at and then just drop a Chewbacca to kill it, it's pretty nice. And also popping up Chewbacca again and dropping him next turn where he's just a takedown every turn seems pretty cool. And he's got grit, so he can actually like swing really big eventually. But again, it's mostly the when played, like just having a little bit more extra like tempo you get off of that.
Yeah, which is really nice. I actually like the Chewbaccas. We've been playing them in the Hanu Blue deck more recently, because it's like that. It's even like the smuggle piece for the Hanu Blue is good. Obviously here we're not smuggling it.
Smuggling for 11, so that's rough.
Yeah, we're not doing it here, but like just because like then if they can't take care of Chewie in one hit, he just does so much. He just is so big. Like, and it's funny. I was playing against one, and like when you drop him with Han, you put the 2 damage on him, right, and now it's a 6/8. And then if they can't kill that or can't do 8 damage to it, you just claim and can swing for whatever. So it's kind of the same thing. Like I don't need to pop Chewbacca back to hand. If you can't take him out, I'm going to swing for a lot of damage next turn.
Yes.
That's the way it's going to be. And then I'll pop him back so you can't kill him and play him again.
Because you have the option of popping him back up and just playing essentially takedown every turn, which is funny. It's a very inefficient takedown because it's double the resources, but it's also a giant unit.
Yeah.
And again, like Zillow's in the testing too, just because sometimes swing huge, right? I'd trade with the Crate Dragon with my own unit, or like, actually I probably don't. Well, yeah. But it's fun. Yeah, I like this deck a lot. It's the learning curve's a little bit weird, but it is a fantastically fun deck to play. And man, do your opponents not like this deck?
Yeah,
just getting cards ripped every single turn.
Yeah, it's one of those. If they don't understand how it plays, they very much so will think this is a negative play experience. So,
well, I just get to discard a card from your hand every turn, and then heal infinitely later on, and then also have like infinite Sentinel. What's the worst that can happen? Just a bunch of card draw too. Why not?
Yeah. So if you're interested in the deck, I will have a deck link in the description. Please comment on the deck link. Make it go viral. There you go. Make this deck like the next big deck that everybody has.
It's a really annoying deck to go against.
No, do it. Let's make this deck viral, baby. We're gonna churn the page. So, all right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight on our little adventure. A little bit different of an episode. Next week, I think we're going to talk a little bit about Sealed, because Sealed is now in a competitive format. So, and I know Alex actually likes Sealed quite a bit. So,
love it.
We're probably going to do a bigger. I don't know how big we'll do it, but we are going to have a Sealed discussion next week. Just because I know Sealed tournaments are starting. We have one. Ironically enough, it's the same weekend as frickin' the one in Whitmore Lake, and I already bought my ticket before I knew it was Sealed. Otherwise, I would have gone to that. Well, I don't know. I'm going to Nine Inch Nails that same weekend too, so I don't know if I really want to go to Nine Inch Nails and then drive all the way to Chicago in the morning from Detroit.
Yeah, that's a bit.
But with Nine Inch Nails being in Detroit and the Whitmore Lake one being like pretty much right in that same area, it's a little harder for me to skip going to that. And I like all our local players, so it's nice to see people and hang out with them. But anyway. Next week we are going to talk about Sealed. We'll do some sort of like an academy training on Sealed, just to kind of give people like a little bit of a guide as the format goes. Obviously, like it's going to be a high level discussion just because of the fact that Sealed is different for every set, and so I can't I guess if you like, we could talk about this set if we wanted to, but we've already kind of done that once in an episode. But what I want to do is talk about tournament wise, what happens going into a Sealed tournament, like do's and don'ts. Talk a little bit about how the competition will play out, and maybe we'll kind of go through some of the rules, because I think they've already had one Sealed PQ. I think they have. They didn't have decks for it, and that's why I think it will. But I want to talk a little bit about that, because I think there are safer options, and then there's what you would call the risky option, which is what Tanner will play if we go to a Sealed PQ. If we have one, you should talk to Evolution Games, Alex, and see if they'll do a Sealed PQ. That would be such an amazing time. You do it. There you go, Alex. That's your goal is to get them to do a Sealed PQ.
I'll try. We'll see.
But anyway, thank you all for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the Flippity Flop.
Thanks for listening.